In the UK, someone gets a parking ticket every 3 seconds.
You can appeal against
Oh,
it.
well, appeal done with it.
I think it's disgusting.
With more cars than ever on our roads, the battle over parking has reached boiling point.
Is there any questions you want to ask me
How do
now?
you sleep at night?
You people, you rob the general public. You're absolute firm.
Just take your heart out and just leave it at home.
With space at a premium, councils need parking controls.
We've got a board that says car park full, and they drive round it.
Engine's off, doors open.
She's got a baby and can't even park outside her own bloody house.
If I'm going to allow the appeal, you don't have to pay.
Oh, feel great.
But for many, parking enforcement is a direct attack on motorists.
It's just about the money. In my opinion, they are bloodsuckers.
You've got no compassion doing the job that you're doing.
And staff are in the firing line.
Come back round here and we'll shoot you. It's the most common thing you'll hear up here.
If you are civilized, you will not tell somebody that I hate you.
As they deal with parking madness.
You might as well just stand here and nick it off of people.
When I say I hate them, I mean I hate them.
There's so little free parking left in Britain's towns and cities. Any streets that don't have restrictions become a battleground.
Can't park anywhere. I'll just live there. It's like it all the way up and down the road, every day. 6 o'clock in the morning, they come, they just slam the doors, the boot, they don't care about anybody.
And this is the police that are causing this problem?
Yes, yes, yes.
18 months ago, a new police station opened in West Bromwich. 400 people work there, but there's only parking for visitors and senior members of staff. So officers park in the surrounding streets instead.
The police says they can park out the like, as long as they leave enough room for the trolley. But of course, what about a blind person?
Go on! Yay! How about that? Did you see that?
It's real madness round here. It causes arguments as well, you know.
Take matters very happy.
When you get somebody that works like my husband and he comes in and there's nowhere to park.
Joan and Alan have lived in the area for 28 years.
Used to be a nice place to live. It's exhausting.
It pulls you down.
It drags you down. It makes you feel as if you don't want to live here. No, I've been talking to the wife about selling my house and moving elsewhere.
The police are not doing anything illegal by parking in the area, but that doesn't help the residents. Keeping the residents happy in this dispute is the job of Sandwell Council's parking manager, Kira Fleck.
It is like when you have young children. That's the only analogy I can use. You draw boundaries with them. You tell them what they can do, they can't do, and everybody then exists in harmony in a family.
She's invited locals to a meeting to gauge opinion on a residents' parking scheme.
Kira from Sandwell Council. Have a seat, make yourself
No, it's all
comfortable.
right, I was
Are you
standing.
okay?
Yeah. If you
that's fine.
sit down, you fall asleep, I might think I'm dead.
Hello, my name is Kira. I'm from the council. Hi, sir. Hello.
Very happy.
Don't be frightened.
Oh, I am frightened.
We have identified the problem,
What is it?
and we've done.
No, you've identified it. Now, what is it?
The problem is people parking all day long, and you can't park in the
but you know what
vicinity.
your actual problem is?
parking spaces
You
off them.
design the
No.
way you've designed West Bromwich. That's where your problem is. You see, you're greedy.
I'm not going to get into the politics of it. All I'm here to do...
that's the
No.
politics, the politics.
Let me just talk about something.
Undaunted, Kira presses on.
We're ready to kick? Hi. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely morning today. The police were invited to this meeting, and they felt that the residents may feel intimidated by the police being here.
I think what intimidation is when they're coming out 4 o'clock in the mornings, putting their sirens on.
Our biggest problem is the police officers parking outside our homes. You don't face this problem.
This might be a harder sell than Kira was expecting. Councils can't just slap in new parking restrictions wherever they want. They have to follow set procedures for the regulations to be legal. Devon resident Peter Harry believes his local council don't always bother.
Devon County Council are fleecing the motorists of tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Peter drives the length and breadth of Devon, hunting for dodgy restrictions to help fellow motorists fight parking fines.
People think that they can't park in a disabled bay because of the word disabled on the road. It means nothing unless there's an upright plate saying it's a disabled parking only and there is a traffic order attached to it. There's nothing here to say it's a disabled bay. No crime, no fine. I don't like to call myself a campaigner. I like to call myself an armchair auditor. That's what David Cameron and Eric Pickles has urged everybody to be.
Peter's latest line of investigation is that local civil enforcement officers, or CEOs, are wearing the wrong uniforms. Today, he's out to capture one on camera.
This is a favourite spot up around here where they hang around quite a bit. He was just stood there just now, but now he's disappeared and I can't see him. Where did you see him then? Back there where those cars are. I blinked and he disappeared. The sign there says 30 minutes parking only, no return within 1 hour. So they must have been here within the hour to place a ticket on that vehicle.
Peter finally has a CEO in his sights.
Have you got my permission to take a photograph, sir?
I don't need it.
Yes, you do, sir.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Public place.
Yeah, but I'm not a public person.
He's not enforcing legally because he should be displaying on his tunic that he's enforcing for Devon County Council. But he's displaying on his tunic that he's enforcing for Mid-Devon District Council.
Isn't that almost kind of small beans, though?
No, it's the law. The law says that they should display the name of the enforcing authority.
If Peter's right, then every penalty charge notice the CEOs issue is invalid.
Well, we learn something new every day.
There you are. This is one case where I think it ought to go to appeal, really. You learn something every day, he said to me.
20,000 motorists a year bring their battles over parking tickets to the Traffic Penalty Tribunal.
That's the vehicle in question, yeah? Yes. That's our vehicle. We have a fixed machine, David. That's a high-pressure water jetter.
You're parking as close as possible to the drain, is that right?
Exactly, yeah.
What's the length of the hose?
This is about people and human life, and you know, everybody's lives are different and the circumstances that happen are completely different. I've been doing it since 1993, when I was the first ever adjudicator.
Okay. Motorists and councils can both attend hearings, but a lot of the time, only the drivers turn up.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. The council won't attend, I don't think, because in these days of austerity, they're not allowed to buy railway tickets anymore, I don't think.
My wife was going to come, but she feels a bit emotional about it, so I said I would come along and put our case.
David Hutt and his wife were having their drive cleaned, so Mrs. Hutt moved the car off the drive and parked on a single yellow line in their street.
It's regular that we move cars off the drive and onto the side and then back again.
David believes the council should show leniency because his wife left a note explaining she was a resident.
Can you see on the front? That there is, that's a note that she put on.
Well, he probably couldn't read it.
No, well, the point is it had been raining so heavily that got washed out.
She put it on the outside?
She put that on the outside and it got washed out.
Why wouldn't she put it on the inside?
Lord knows.
Had somebody left the car there first and she couldn't get into it?
No. In the letter of the law, you shouldn't park during the restriction period. But the law is a blunt instrument, and I would just be asking that the council reconsider on the basis that we are residents and that restriction is not there to punish the residents, it's more just to deter, if you like, the commuting traffic.
I'm not convinced that they would find that compelling. So I think that we're all in the same boat here and we're going to have to just come under the cosh of the blunt instrument, and I'm going to have to turn down your appeal, I'm afraid.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. I'm not allowed to shake your hand. am I?
No, well, don't worry, but...
Don't worry. Great stuff.
David will now have to cough up the original fine of £70. When drivers don't pay PCNs and ignore council reminder letters, eventually the bailiffs come calling.
Golf. Go golf.
They use automatic number plate recognition cameras to spot vehicles with outstanding fines on them.
We're bailiffs and we're here for non-payment of parking fine on this vehicle.
Debbie works for White & Co bailiffs. She specialises in recovering parking fines.
At the moment, the outstanding debt is £517.84. We won't be able to let your vehicle go unless we have a payment made.
This morning she's in Croydon on a roadside operation, working alongside husband Steve and the local police.
Hermione?
Oh, that's Mum.
Oh, that's your mum, right, OK. The car's been pulled over today for the non-payment of a parking fine. It's £517.84. And we need to have a payment today.
What, the full payment?
Yep.
The car belongs to the driver's mother, but he'll need to pay up if he wants to go on his way.
Well, I haven't got the money on me right now.
Is there any money we can pay it online for you? Because we can't let you go unless we get the payment. They parked on zigzags. Whoever was driving the vehicle, they were parked on zigzag like a pedestrian crossing, so they deserve to get a parking ticket. But a zigzag's a zigzag, isn't it, at the end of the day? Obviously, he's saying they had difficulties paying. Just who wants to pay and who can't or won't pay is the difference.
You haven't even proved to me that I was parked on a zigzag. I mean, where is it?
It just says you were parked on a zigzag crossing.
Yeah.
And that's all the information I've got.
Where? When?
Well, it would be in Croydon.
January?
Yeah, in January.
It's like 8 months ago.
Yeah, it takes about minimum 6 months to come to bailiff stage.
Well, I haven't got any money now.
How much can you pay today?
I haven't got any money on me. I'm broke.
Well,
I might
no.
have a pound, I think.
Well, you can't pay by card, debit card or credit card?
No. You want what I haven't
Well, the
got.
problem is, if the bailiffs have to go back to your mum's address, they would be looking to do a house removal of your mum's goods.
I haven't got the money to pay them. They say that I parked in a zigzag, which I don't do. They can't prove any evidence or anything like that. They've just got paperwork from Bromley, Croydon Council.
Meanwhile, Steve has had enough of waiting for the driver to pay up.
Is this yours, sir?
Yeah.
If you ain't paying it, sir, we're looking for some goods to see, sir. Just cover the debt, sir.
Oh my goodness, you're going to seize my goods. I used to sell rubbish in there, really.
Well, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, I ain't got the money. I would pay it. Yeah.
If you try a credit card with a lady or a debit card, if it doesn't go through, I'll believe you, sir, OK? Because you must know that things we're told is unbelievable.
Okay.
I'll give you...
yeah.
Right, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt then.
Okay.
The gentleman's going to try his cards. If they don't go through, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and then he's going to have to
sort it out.
Sort it out.
Yeah.
Look at that. One in my pocket. Can't be bad.
Is there a debit card, sir?
Yeah. Nothing's on them.
We'll try them and we're all happy then.
Okay.
Right, just pop your pin in, please, and the green button.
Okay, anywhere nice?
I'm just taking the missus to work.
Not authorised.
Because there's nothing on there. Might be £6 if anything.
When drivers fail to pay up, the bailiffs would normally remove the car. But this is a mobility vehicle, so Debbie and Steve decide to let them go.
Poor old mum, she's 83. I drive her around and stuff, and you know, so...
The bailiff company who has got the original warrant will have to go to their house and do a house removal if that's what they want to do.
That's the price of living in this country. Everybody wants your money, whether you got it or not. Find it. What can I say?
This is not a cop-out or anything. I can't answer on behalf of the police. I will...
In West Bromwich, residents are still voicing their opinions on what to do about police officers' cars blocking up their streets.
We have to find another way of dealing with
I'll
it.
give you a
Can I come to you now? No. I'm going to, in a minute.
Try to keep up the pressure down, but I haven't took my time.
Keep it down. This is a good
It's
meeting.
getting soft.
I'm enjoying it.
What Kira really wants to do is convince them to go for residence parking. But the scheme will cost locals £20 per permit.
I don't think we should have to pay for parking residents' parking fees. £25 and £20. If you've got 3 people in your house with cars, and you're paying all that much money out, and you're paying your poll tax as well, I don't think so.
Resident schemes are not here to jeopardise or inconvenience residents. They're here to assist you.
Are they for life? Are they
No, they're there for 1 year from the day. 1 year. So if people have this conception that I own this house, therefore the space outside my house is my own, that is wrong. If you don't want a scheme, that's fine. Because all you need to do is return the questionnaire saying you don't want the scheme.
These questionnaires, we haven't received one.
You haven't received
No.
one?
No,
Are you
we-
in that catchment area, sir?
In Richard Street
Well-
West, just round the back
Okay,
here.
sir, I have got some
Right,
questionnaires
no.
here. At the end of the day, I want to do something. The council wants to do. We know you have got an issue here, and we've got to start somewhere. Sorry, questionnaires? Yeah. It is exhausting, but in a nice way. You feel that you have. The day has been long. There has been intense passions shown.
I think it's a racket, my friend. It's another way of making money out of people.
They should have took that in consideration when they was building the police station. They knew they was going to want in car parks. So in other words, they've blocked everybody else's street up.
At the roadside operation in Croydon, a minicab driver has been pulled over for non-payment of a parking fine.
Unless you cough up nearly £600, you lose your car, you lose your work, you probably end up losing your home, and you could even lose your families. Bloody, it's a nightmare.
He says he's got someone coming down to actually make the payment on his behalf, so at least his car's not going to be removed and he can then go on his way.
When the driver's father-in-law does turn up, he hasn't brought any money. Instead, he takes the shopping home.
He's going up to Shirley.
Oh, so not long, about
Not long,
about
half an hour.
Half hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you soon. He's taking my shopping home and see if he can help me with the payment.
It's off.
I'm
Yeah, never do it. I'm telling you, it's off.
Well, why don't you just get him to pay online? Steve believes that it seems a bit of a story that the man's going to take his shopping home and then come back down with a card. Seems a little bit strange.
You're a bit of a double act, aren't you?
Yeah, we do try. But we don't work together all the time, though. No, just on these type of... I couldn't work with Steve, live with him and work with him.
He's going to try to make the payment.
He's going to try to make the payment?
Yeah, he's getting my credit card.
So he's either going to try to make the payment or he's going to make the payment? I don't know.
We're going to make the payment.
You're going to make the payment? Well, you've got half an hour, sir, all right? If it ain't in time, you're going to lose the vehicle.
And they want to get it as quickly as they can. There's no giving chance. There's no, understanding or giving anybody a chance.
Before councils were allowed to manage their own parking enforcement, it was a gentler time when traffic wardens, then part of the police force, patrolled our streets.
I wore a tie and I chose to wear a tie. The police ladies always like to wear like a cravat.
Until she retired 5 years ago, Helen Turner was the only traffic warden in Selby in North Yorkshire.
I wondered if I would take to it, because after I gave my first ticket, I nearly burst into tears because he wasn't very happy. But I thought, well, I've got myself into this, I've got to keep going. If somebody had said to me, look, I'm dashing in for a prescription, it's my little boy, I've just been to the doctor's, I'd say, be quick. You've got to have a bit of leeway, give and take with them all.
But the give and take seemed to stop in Selby when North Yorkshire County Council took over the job in June this year.
We've got these traffic wardens come from Harrogate that are just acting
with force like nobody ever has done before.
The minute anybody parks at the back, they're diving on them. It's ridiculous.
I used to just nip up behind Weatheralls and pull up around there, you see, and nip into the bank and nip out again. I got fined, was it say £30, £60?
You normally see them about every hour. They walk up this way and then they walk back down and then they reappear. Certainly every couple of hours.
Richard Schofield owns a gift shop on the High Street. Even before the new civil enforcement officers arrived, the town's retailers were struggling.
I've become a little bit of an island, really, in that I'm stuck between two empty shops. We've got the Booze Busters and the Blockbusters, both closed, and then I've got two charity shops.
I've been in the town for 12 years. Certainly we bought it at a difficult time, and things seem to have got worse. The internet's become much more popular. People don't even leave home now. And we've got new parking wardens come from Harrogate recently, and the chances are that they're 5 minutes late to the car now, they're going to get a £60 fine. I think once the customer's had a £60 fine, they ain't coming back here anymore.
I know they did an old gentleman near our shop. He had a blue badge. They did him because he hadn't set the time properly. And
Recently?
About 3 weeks ago on a Saturday.
That's these new guys.
£70 it cost him. And he came in the shop asking what he could do because he didn't understand. He was in his 80s.
People I've spoke to in the shop, they're not given a minute. Whereas before, I think the police, and certainly when Helen was doing it, she understood that the traders, you know, people needed to stop there and come and get a card, and they like to have a chat. They were just a bit more understanding. They were a friend to the town. I had a delivery man the other day, works for himself. He said, I'm never coming back to your town. How am I going to get my parcels?
In central London, racking up parking fines is an occupational hazard for delivery drivers.
We've got a collection of tickets from all over the place.
How many do you get?
I would say 2 a week for sure.
Vincenzo Oliveri owns 2 Italian restaurants in the West End. He goes backwards and forwards in his van throughout the day picking up supplies.
All this road, they are double yellow lane. If the traffic warden comes here, he got a ticket. They don't let you function properly. The rent is very high, the rates they are very high, the labor is very high in central London. If you had also the tickets that you get nearly every day, somebody got to pay for it.
One of Vincenzo's restaurants is in a street where no loading is allowed whatsoever. Not very convenient for essential deliveries.
I'm checking just in case, because as soon as they come, we have to run. Fernando, vieni. Tieni il pane. About 10 people have to help me. Roberto, now it's starting to rain as well. That's what we need. As soon as they come in, actually, it's coming. You see there? There's somebody with the yellow. Very stressful, very stressful. It's incredible. I will have a heart attack soon.
With the weekly bill for parking fines now running into tens of thousands for freight companies, the body that represents them has set up a dedicated service to deal with parking tickets on behalf of members.
The top 4 of cancellations, so it's like, yes!
Mandy Carey's full-time job is processing and appealing parking tickets.
The vehicle is parked on a single yellow line. There is no curb blips there at all. Once I've seen something like that, I would then go onto Google Street View. So as you can see, there's no indication of time plates of restrictions or anything at all.
It's a bit like being an investigator, isn't it?
It is. Some jobs get a bit mundane, don't they? But this one, you can't. It's not. It's exciting.
Access to the vehicle's tracking technology helps make the case watertight.
I've also attached the driver's trip sheet, and it indicates doors opening and closing, so there is a delivery being made. Hopefully we should get a letter back saying that that one will be cancelled.
Ironically, parking fines don't lead to huge profits for councils. The cost of enforcement often cancels out the income from the fines. They do make money from motorists who pay to park. Westminster Council have realised that it's better for them and better for motorists if they stop issuing so many tickets.
Please, waiting restriction. Please, thank you.
So they're taking a more human approach to parking enforcement.
And how long would that take, sir?
Say hello to the traffic marshals.
The hat, flat hats, yes. I do like it. It is stylish. It does look friendlier.
Hello. This bay is suspended, so you're not allowed to park it.
Do you ever issue tickets?
Of course, that would be the last resort. Like, the way I told her to move now, if she refused to move, then the ticket will be the last resort for me. Thank you.
The marshals currently operate in a small area around Leicester Square. They ticket cars at roughly half the rate of normal CEOs. Instead, they want to encourage drivers to pay for parking.
You have to pay by phone if you're going to park there, yeah?
Have you paid some money today?
Yes. We always pay. We are chauffeurs, we have to pay.
You know, he told me that he had made payment, and he hasn't. So when I check, he hasn't made payment. Are you just making it now?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's not coming up, so you're just making it now.
Not all drivers quite understand what is required of them.
Afternoon, sir. How you doing? You good?
Yeah.
He's a regular. We do see the gentleman around here. Thank you. Bye-bye.
He's driving round the corner, isn't he just adding to the traffic out on other roads?
Well, possibly. But again, drivers do need to find...
Here he is again.
Just let him go when he comes back 5 minutes later.
We get a lot of deliveries here, and we have to get people to back in, and they're always just sitting there. They obviously haven't got a parking permit or nothing, so they don't get ticketed. They just drive around the corner, and you know, I mean, that's a problem for us.
Is that our friend again over there?
Yes. Yes, that's our friend again. Hello again, sir.
How you doing, man?
How you doing? You good?
Very good,
Please. Try to get yourself in a pay by phone bay or something and make payment, please.
Sorry?
Try to get yourself in a pay by phone bay,
All right,
please,
thank
sir. Thank you, sir. Since he complied, there's no need to issue him a PCN. It's the polite thing to do.
Half an hour later, this driver still isn't getting the message.
Chasing me around. Even one time the job I came back, simply chasing me around, you know.
We're just walking around and we keep on bumping into you.
I don't need the house.
Bailiffs Debbie and Steve have been on this roadside job in Croydon for 4 hours.
How long have you been married?
2 years. Been together 18, got married 2.5 years ago. We met at a friend's hairdressing salon.
I feel sorry for you.
Earlier today, they pulled over a minicab driver who owes £547 for an unpaid fine.
How do you justify the amount of levy you put on the outstanding balance?
All our costs are reasonable. They're all set by the council.
But your cost is literally outweighs by far what the outstanding balance is.
Well, if you took that off, you took the VAT off, you got £288.20. Is our cost?
What about the VAT? Why would you charge anybody VAT?
Because we're a company.
Is he paying or what?
Yeah, he's paying now, sir.
The minicab driver's father-in-law has returned, this time with a credit card in hand.
Debit card or credit card, sir?
Credit card.
Credit card.
Will there be any...
a surcharge on the credit card? Yes, 3% surcharge. You got a calculator in there?
Apparently there's a 3% surcharge on the card. So we might have to go into the local branch, transfer the money over to a debit card, which is going to cost me nothing, and then make the payment that way. Excuse me. Can I quickly go down to the NatWest bank, which is literally at the end of that road, so I won't have to pay a 3% surcharge?
I'll long's it going to take you, sir?
End of that road, if you want to believe me or not.
I don't know where the end of that road is, sir.
West Croydon is just there, so yeah.
If the tow truck gets here, the vehicle will be put in a tow truck.
Increasing numbers of PCNs never come into contact with car windscreens. They're issued by CCTV and come through the post.
When the ticket came through the door, I was flabbergasted. I thought, what's this? I was trying to think, somebody must have made a mistake here.
Bristol resident Lexington Burke was issued a PCN on a street well known for its Caribbean food.
Jamaican mangoes here. Oh my gosh, this is really nice. A good smell on that one.
He'd driven his disabled aunt to the street to visit her favourite West Indian restaurant.
She loves to come here in order to buy the food from here, knows the person who cooks the meals very well. She's very sick and her taste changes, but she usually goes for something like jerk chicken, or she may want to have the curry goat. It's easier to talk about what's right about her than what's wrong with her. She dilates 3 times per week. Angina, had how many heart attacks? I've lost count.
His aunt is a blue badge holder, but the disabled bay outside the restaurant was already taken.
On the day itself, I wasn't parked in the actual disabled bay. I was parked the next position after the disabled parking, which is here where this Golf is parked. In front of me here is a sign that isn't easy to understand, so I relied on what the disabled badge holder sign told me. I thought I had 3 hours parking here and parked accordingly.
But you weren't actually parked in the disabled bay?
I wasn't in the disabled bay, but I parked in the nearest spot to it and put the badge out.
While he was parked there, a CCTV car caught him on camera.
There he is. Oh, look at that. And he's just driven by. That is amazing. I cannot believe he's here again.
Lex is taking his case to the Traffic Penalty Tribunal. Increasing numbers of the appeals now happen over the telephone.
I'm okay. There is obviously also a little bit of nerves. Never done this before.
Phone hearings make it easier for councils and motorists to take part.
Hello.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yes. Good morning.
Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Just to start, this was a ticket that was sent to you through the post, wasn't it, Mr.
Correct.
Burke?
Yes.
Did you know what the regulations were in this bay? Did you understand?
No, I'll say to you that I'm very much confused and a bit perplexed to understand how to interpret these. It's part of my argument. My case, I feel that the City Council is not being very user-friendly.
So were you shopping for the household then, on that day?
I sometimes do that for the household and take the household with me also.
Do you have a disability yourself, Mr. Burke?
Well, not that is registered per se, but.
Right. So you yourself do not have a blue badge.
No, I don't.
But you carry around your mother and your auntie.
Well, they have limited mobility. They can't carry much weight at all. So I've got a choice. If I can find parking, I can go with them to the shop, so I can be the load bearer of whatever they shop for. Yes.
You didn't realise that there was 2 different bays there.
I would have parked exactly where the black vehicle is, if I may say so, but it was taken. I'm a disabled badge holder, so I thought, OK, I'm going to park to the nearest proximity, and that should cover me, I thought.
But with great respect, Mr. Burke, you aren't a disabled badge holder, are you? It's your aunt and your mother.
Sorry, I correct myself. When I say I'm a disabled badge holder, I'm driving for disabled individuals.
In fact, the blue badge didn't mean Lex could park there. So will his argument that the signs were confusing hold any sway?
Mr. James, I can't read the sign in the evidence that you've supplied.
Or the comment just below it on the page says what the restrictions are.
Where is that sign? Because I can't see that sign in the video footage.
If you scroll back the footage to just before you actually see the black car, if you look on the left of Mr. Lewington's car, you can see the sign at the top of the picture.
Caroline's not satisfied that the video or the still photographs prove that the restriction was properly signed.
I appreciate they couldn't have parked where there's a loading ban, But it may not have been clear to them at the time. I do not have these very clear additional pictures of the signing at this complicated site. So, Mr. Burke, I'm going to allow your appeal on this occasion. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. I've won. My appeal has been upheld in this instance. Guess what? Yep. I won. The tribunal has found in my favour. You prayed.
That went as most of them do go. They hang on bits of evidence. And in this case, I happen to agree with the chief adjudicator that the picture we provided is not that clear.
Oh, amazing, 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 amazing. It needs to happen, though. I can only hope other people have the courage, of their conviction to appeal.
In West Bromwich, the battle's still raging for parking spaces on the streets around a new police station.
There's a lady's dropped curb here. Now, there was somebody parked across it and we fetched the police officers out. And they was told the has got no rights to move them. They was blocked in and they works at the hospital. They had to leave the car and walk it to work.
Peter Thomas's hairdressing salon is in the eye of the storm.
I spent £250,000 on this. Took lots of risks. This was derelict for 18 years and I've given 19 people jobs. It affects people passing through. Think we'll just stop off and get their hair cut, can't park, so they carry on. The way we're going at the minute, the business is just folding. And a lot of people are going to be out of work. I mean, at the moment, all we're hearing is it's going to be permits. Well, if it's permits, my staff can't park outside.
For the scheme to go ahead, more than 50% of the residents on each street will have to vote for it.
I cannot see another way. It's a very old town. We've got old terraced houses. There is no excess land anywhere to facilitate. The only way we will remove them is by introducing this restriction.
The council have sent people letters about having a residence scheme put in. Or it is we're knocking the doors, checking that they've had the forms. If they haven't had the forms, we're giving them another one. If you just read it, if the scheme goes ahead, have a read of it. No.
You are saying democracy in its best form.
Obviously, you can't force forms on people. Have you actually filled a form in?
No.
No. Do you want to fill one in now while I wait?
Oh, a parking permit form? Yeah, I have actually.
You've filled one in. Have you handed it back?
Yeah, last week.
If they vote for the scheme, residents will have CEOs patrolling their streets. The arrival of new CEOs in Selby is upsetting the locals and now threatens one of its long-standing trades.
I got a ticket on my card, because I come to pick kiosk up as usual.
Doubtfire's ice cream van has been a Selby institution for over 70 years. Every afternoon, the owners pull up on the yellow line to tow the kiosk away and have never had a problem, until now.
Traffic warden come, tell me that once the kiosk's hooked on, then you can't serve. So if anybody stood there waiting to be served, you just got to refuse them. And he says, if you don't go, I'll give you a ticket. So give me a ticket. My daughter just paid it like, I say it's her business, like, no, I just come to pick it up for her and that. And I say she just paid it. Save any aggro.
What will happen if you can't trade here anymore then?
What if we couldn't trade here anymore? Well, she'd just lose her business, wouldn't she? She'd have to shut down.
But one Selby resident isn't taking her PCN lying down. Louise Gomerson got a ticket on the very first day of new council enforcement.
I'm a homeowner, I have a car, I want to park outside my own house. I don't really think it's too much to ask, to be honest.
Louise's street has a single yellow line down it, but until the new CEO showed up, she'd been parking on it regularly.
I noticed at the end of March that there was the broken yellow line. So basically, because I knew that it invalidated restrictions on the street, I took advantage of being able to park outside my house. This is the line here. I mean, it's over a metre wide. I parked literally from the end of March up until getting the parking ticket on the 1st of June.
Louise was told by the old wardens that a broken line invalidates the restriction. So she's decided to appeal her ticket and strike a blow against the new enforcers.
9 out of 10 people would probably just pay it because they just think, what's the point in appealing it? Whereas I'm different. It's a bit of a long-standing joke at work, to be honest. I think they do think I'm nuts, but then anybody that meets me think I'm nuts anyway, but that's just my personality.
While the PCN count is mounting up in Selby, in Westminster, the council are trying out an approach which involves them giving out fewer tickets.
The bay is suspended at the moment, so I'm asking you to move on, okay?
But the marshals can only move cars along if they have drivers in them. Mohammed's come across a scooter left parked in a suspended bay.
Check on that. PCN's been issued early morning.
How come you give tickets?
Yeah, sir.
Because nothing there in the morning. They don't close here in the morning when I park my bike.
This time plate's been up here yesterday.
No, I didn't see this morning. It's not in this morning when I come out. I come in this morning to work.
Sir, the suspension's been up here yesterday. I was on duty yesterday. I've checked. The suspension was
my friend,
up here.
This one is not there yesterday. If it's here, I will not park in there.
The barriers are nothing to do with us, Westminster.
That one is not there.
The barriers hasn't come from parking services.
That one as well is not there.
If you listen to me, as the PCN stands from here, the PCN does stand valid. It's down to you now, sir, to write into the council, contest the ticket if you feel that you have a grounds of appeal. Okay? Is that good? Okay, thank you very much, sir.
I start to pay a year parking, so today you come to give me a ticket for no reason. I don't understand.
That suspension was up yesterday. The other gentleman was saying it wasn't.
You saw it?
Yeah, we saw it. We understand that when drivers are angry, they're not angry at me personally. They're angry simply on the situation.
How many people have you robbed today for £60?
None.
Even though the marshals give out fewer tickets than CEOs, convincing the public they're different isn't easy.
They'll say anything they want to you. They will do anything they want to you. Touch your ass. Some people will even take this and go.
Marshal or no marshal, they're there to nick you. Anyway, doesn't matter what you do or what you tell them. No matter where they're from, what they've done in their life, they are all one robot, all the same.
You just got there?
I just got there. Yeah.
When?
Fun?
When?
Now.
Okay. It will tell us, don't worry.
Okay.
We hate this traffic warden. Hello, Mr. Traffic warden.
You know, if you are civilized, you will not tell somebody that I hate you. That's it.
Bailiff Debbie has pulled over another car at the roadside operation in Croydon.
The policemen are coming over now, right, for this Audi. Yeah, okay, right. You've got 2 non-payment of parking fines on this vehicle. All right, okay, you've been parking illegally.
The Polish driver speaks very little English. He gets his wife on the phone to act as interpreter.
Hello. Hello. Hi, right. The gentleman's got 2 non-payment of parking fines due to Croydon Council.
But according to them, they've already paid a parking debt to a different bailiff company.
Yeah, I'll just wait.
Yesterday, this evening.
When did the bailiffs come round yesterday, did you say? Right, okay. And did they give you any paperwork? Have you made any payments to them? He paid on Friday to another bailiff company. He was charged £700 and odd pounds. Yeah, but you don't know how many times they've been out or anything else like that, do you? And they clamped it. But we're just trying to get this all confirmed with the council before we let him go.
How does a ticket get to £700?
It's different charges. Obviously, I can't comment on what another bailiff company charges. We have set figures on our company. Obviously, once the new legislation's come in April next year, we're all going to have to charge the same. So it'll make life easier for everybody then.
word comes through that they've only paid off one of the parking tickets. It's news to the driver.
At the moment, the outstanding debt is $523.84 that needs to be paid.
No.
Yep. She's paid one, you had two, and they should have both been paid. $523.84.
Reluctantly, the driver decides to pay up. Half in cash, half on a card.
Thank you. You've got to comply with the rules, and if he's over here working and he's living here, then he needs to understand that if you get a parking fine, you've got to pay them.
The minicab driver's back from the bank.
Discounting is cash. Or a good payday for it. Borrowed it off my father-in-law. Hopefully I'll be able to pay him back one as I get to work. So the system is a bit messed up. There's no consideration or understanding.
Just take your heart out and just leave it at home and just come to work.
In Selby, the rift between locals and parking enforcers is deepening.
I'm going to get my paper.
It's 2.5 months since the new CEOs arrived.
They've got some figures on the parking for last year, as opposed to when the police were doing it, to this year when North Yorkshire County Council and Harrogate are doing it, and they're interesting figures. How are you?
Fine, thanks, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. You keeping busy?
So.
The whole town's reading the newspaper.
It's just an outrage, isn't it? They're just out to kill the trade in every angle they can.
Angriest parking fines are increased 5-fold. I never did the maths on that. 693 tickets as opposed to 141 last year. That is disgusting. And I think I've got a quote in here somewhere. Richard Schofield, Town Centre Manager for Selby Chamber and owner of Gowthorpe Seven and Home, said the increases confirmed his worst fears. This is a disgrace, he said.
The ice cream vans made it into the paper too.
Recently received a ticket. It is not the van itself that attracts the ticket, but the car that comes to tow it. Unbelievable, isn't it? But that was there when Katrina was a kid. I used to buy Katrina an ice cream from there. She's in her 20s now. That's how long it's been there.
The council argues that if you comply with parking regulations, you don't get a ticket. But Richard's fearful for the future of the town.
If things continue as they are, to be brutally honest, I think I'd struggle to make another couple of years. It'll all be over then. At the end of the dream, the end of the vision, the end of everything. It'd be particularly upsetting. I don't like to think about it, really. It'd be a great sadness.
For one Selby resident, it's crunch time. Louise Gomerson's appeal hearing has come up.
I've got a point to prove, and you know, you've got to fight your cause, because if they continue to get away with issuing tickets like they are, then Selby's just going to be more of a ghost town than what it already is. Thank you. Hello. Are you all right?
I'm fine. Do sit down.
I don't know if we shake hands.
Louise is appealing a PCN she received outside her house.
The reason I did park there on that particular day was because there is a broken yellow line. A few years previous, I was issued with a ticket when the police were issuing tickets in Selby, and I appealed it, and they withdrew the ticket because when it's a broken yellow line, unless there's a T-bar on the end, it invalidates the restriction.
How long ago was that?
Oh, probably about 2 or 3 years,
Yes.
I guess. I thought you were supposed to trust what the police tell you, so what they've told me, I, you know, believed it to be true.
There is the gap, isn't it?
I actually...
Which is, what about...
It's probably about just over a metre
just
wide,
over a
I would
metre,
say,
that's what
yeah.
I judged it. And It's quite a long way further up the street, isn't it?
It is, but to my
I mean, about 50 metres or so.
Caroline's seen all the correspondence Louise has sent to the council.
You did suggest at the council that perhaps they should train everybody up to your version of events.
I was pretty mad at the time, so maybe it was something I shouldn't have said, but it was,
yes.
you know, heat of the moment.
Since Louise's previous ticket was cancelled, the Court of Appeal has clarified the law on broken lines.
Now, obviously, if you're parked very near to the defect and there's some confusion as to what applies, then that's a valid argument. That if the defect is far away from the car, then it doesn't invalidate it. I'm going to have to dismiss your appeal because your car was parked in contravention of the traffic order. All right, so I hope that's cleared it up for you. You said the law was hazy at one point, and it is now very clear, and that is the clarity of it.
What happens now then?
Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to pay the penalty charge notice.
Right, the lower amount.
No, I'm afraid not. They gave you an opportunity to do that, and they did explain, and you didn't take advantage of that. So it's now the full penalty charge, £70. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Like, I'm probably silly getting upset about it, but I just feel that I've wasted my time. At the end of the day, you kind of can't give up the fight, but at the same time, I don't really want to get any more parking tickets. With regards to Selby, the problems still continue until they become a little bit more lenient with how they issue tickets and stuff like that, then the problem is still going to be there and Selby's just going to continue to go downhill, which is not what we want for our town. We want better for our town.
Back in Westminster, Mohammed is checking on some pay-by-phone bays. He's come across a car that's gone over time.
I'll just double check it again and continue to issue him with a penalty. It's an instant PCN since the driver must have received a text message.
It's my car.
Hello, sir.
Is it too late?
Yes, it is, sir.
I forgot the alarm.
Just a minute, sir.
You seem very sanguine about the fact you see.
No, it's my fault. No, I'm not. It is what it is. No, I came late and I owe to pay.
A citizen who is happy to pay up. That's refreshing.
This is what I love about London. I'm very serious. It's painful when it happens to you, but at least people respect traffic and they park well. And in Paris, it's a nightmare because there's no ticket. I think there's no law enforcement, and when it happens, I think it's like £20, so nobody cares. I'm much happier about this system here. See,
Thank
good
you.
luck. I think
Thank
it's a
you.
tough job. Actually, your job is the toughest one I know. Nobody loves you.
Thank you. I appreciate your understanding. No problem. Take care.
Westminster are so pleased with the outcome of the marshalling trial, they've decided to roll it out across the borough.
As he was saying, traffic down there is chaos, whereas here we have a control of our traffic, you know. And yes, and you can clearly see he appreciates that.
The results of the West Bromwich residents' parking vote are in, and Kira Fleck presents them to her boss.
This is the whole area that we identified that has been affected because of the police station.
So the green are in favour.
Green are in favour. Yes, and at the moment Oak Road comes out as in favour of having a resident parking scheme. It's over 50%, but none of the others do. What it will do is, by putting a scheme there, it will still further push problems in Oak Line, Bloch Road, Cambridge Street. It's surprising why they haven't agreed, because they've got a huge problem.
In the meantime, since I spoke to you last, I have spoken to the Chief Superintendent of the police station about the possibility of removing some of this green area around the edge and replacing that with parking spaces. But you could get an awful lot of them right round the edge there if some of that greenery was removed.
We like to have the trees and the grass and the greenery where we can, but if we need parking spaces, that realistically to me is more important.
With the shape of the permit scheme decided, Kira's visiting residents to let them know.
Whenever we actually propose any changes or any restrictions, we are required by law to put notices in the area, and as you can see on this lamp column, there is a notice. Some of them may have been removed. Somebody's tried to remove this one as well. In this day and age where we are making cutbacks and we haven't got sufficient staff, I think the bit about talking to the people and the community out there is sort of going by the wayside, and we need to make more effort. Hello, little one. What's your name?
Alfie. It's all right.
Alfie.
He was attacked last week, so I had to be careful.
Oh, okay. Hello, Alfie. How are you anyway?
Oh, I'm all right.
You're all right. Parking.
Oh,
the scheme. We're only doing it in Oak Road all the way.
Oak Road, yeah.
We're doing it. Well, we're proposing it
Yeah,
for there,
well-
and hopefully people will be happy because majority have asked for it.
All the residents in the area have received letters telling them the result. Nav lives on Oak Road.
It was good. I mean, we was overjoyed. The way we look at it, I think anything just to get away from the nightmare of the parking. And if that means we have to pay something towards that now, you know, we'll have to do it.
Alan and Joan live on a street that didn't vote in favour of the permits. So things are only going to get worse for them.
Well, I wanted to, but as the wife says, we pay tax, we pay insurance, and even if they put one on, you still wouldn't be guaranteed your parking place. Same old council have made it quite plain that that's what they want doing.
And I'll do it. Whether you want it or not, it'll be...
And you can take it to court.
Yeah.
It won't make any difference because they've got more money than what we've got.
Hiya. Last time I came here, you wanted to chop my hair off. I remember that. Wherever we put a resident parking scheme, if there is any property that is right on the junction and there's restrictions there, we will include them in the resident scheme. Obviously, you would have to buy business permits, but it is at a far less cost than individuals who would have to park in the town centre.
That is no good for me.
No,
You
no,
get
we were
ladies
going
in
to,
with
we're going to
perms
put,
and colours.
we've already looked at your
You looked at
hairdressing.
that?
I have.
I have
We've
high
got-
priority.
No, we
Business permits will allow Peter's staff to park, but Kira's also allowed some free parking for his customers.
We have put 2 hours, no return within 3. And that allows people to go in and out.
Yeah, that's better, thanks.
Are you okay with that
We're
explanation?
all right,
Yeah?
as long as we can get something sorted.
Yeah, we'll
and
sort it. We'll
everybody
get
will be
there.
happy. Everybody will be happy.
Okay, you take care.
Thank you very much.
Take care. It's human nature to find a place where they don't have to pay. Space everywhere now is a commodity and we have to manage it.
Next time,
It's full up down there, full.
a seaside town buckles under the weight of tourists.
We got a board that says car park full, and they drive round it.
Parking enforcement upsets the locals.
You've taken my car in front of me. How do you sleep at night? Have you got children? Have you got a mother? Have you got a wife?
And a £30 parking ticket ends in arrest.
Please, take your hands away. Take your hands away now.